Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Bayou Bets, Thursday, October the 5th, 2023. I have survived. My name is Jim Derry, and I am no longer on my deathbed. I'm here with Thomas Casale to talk about all the things going on around the area, around the state, around the region, nationally. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to cram it all into 35 minutes, and someone, before the show is over, will be the turkey of the week. We're not going to tell you who just yet. We want to spoil the surprise. It was me last week. Will it be me again? We'll find out. Thomas, what's going on this afternoon? Sorry.
I'm doing well, Jim. You know, the Saints' performance have made a lot of us sick, but darn near killed you. So that tells you kind of the state of the offense heading into Sunday in New England.
You know, it's funny because Monday morning, when I didn't do Datitude, I had quite a few texts from people wanting to know if I was really sick or if I was just Saint sick. And I'm like, is there really a difference? I mean, the Saints were that bad that it really doesn't make a difference which one I was. Something made me sick, and it was either the hot dogs in the dome or it was the play of the New Orleans Saints. I'm really not sure which. Either way, it wasn't good. All right, let's get on and talk about what our topics are today. No one wants to hear what I was eating at the Dome. And obviously, we're going to talk about the Saints. Will they make any changes? Well, we know the answer to that, but we're still going to talk about it. And where does everything fall as the Saints take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough on Sunday? Some interesting movement in the line, LSU, Missouri. I mean, very interesting, to be honest. I mean, it is like dropping like the temperatures in New Orleans from 3 weeks ago. It's insane how much this line has changed over the past 3 days. We're going to talk about that. I'd say top 4 games to watch. But I have a feeling we're going to talk about more than just 4 games in our segment there that Thomas and I started a couple of weeks ago. I really like this segment where we kind of take the best games of the week across college football, across the NFL, and we pick which ones we like the most. Not necessarily which ones we want to bet on the most, but maybe the most intriguing games of the week. And then the big buck segment this week, the turkey of the week, and we're going to make our picks. I will just give you a little spoiler alert. We all sucked last week. So, I mean, the turkey doesn't really make a difference. We had by far our worst week of the year, which means we can only get better. We're going to get better, except Gabe Henderson. His picks stink because a lot of them are against mine. So I can't wait to get to that segment. We'll have fun with it in just a little bit. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints, Thomas. And, you go into this weekend, these rankings continue to drop for the Saints. When I do them each week, they're both sides, offense and defense, dropping every week. We're into week 4 now, which means they're really starting to mean something. And sure that the Saints are 23rd offensively, 21st in passing offense, 25th in run offense. I mean, it's really, they're getting to the bottom third, and there's a reason. They're showing why. They can't score 20 points.
No, they can't, and it's a problem. It's going to be a problem again this week, I think, in another lower scoring game with the Patriots. I think the defenses are going to dominate. Interesting thing about this line, at our partners at Caesars, the line you got up is correct, Jim. That's the Saints are a 1-point favorite. You can still get the Patriots 1-point favorite. You can still get the Saints at +1. But at some other places, that's moved now to the Saints as a favorite, a road favorite in New England. I mean, boy, either the odds makers or the bettors love the Saints. They're a favorite in Green Bay. Now they could close as a favorite in New England. We'll have to see what happens. But I wasn't expecting that. I thought the money would be more on New England this week, given that Bill Belichick is coming off his worst loss ever, thinking more people would go that way.
The over-under, by the way, has changed. I just didn't have time to change the graphic. It is actually 39.5 now. It started this week around 40.5. Quickly dropped to 38.5, then kind of settled at 39 for a little while, and now it's 39.5 is going up. Look, we'll get into the predictions part of this segment. It's actually it's in your best bets, and I think it's in either Gabe's or the Guru's, Gabe's as well. It's not in my best bet, so I'll just tell you what I think, and I'll be talking about it tomorrow morning on Datitude with Larry Holder. Look, I've been bashing the Saints for 2 weeks now. Their offense is pathetic. It shows you. I mean, I'm surprised it's 23rd. I thought it would be higher than that. I mean, worse than that. But here's the thing. I think that they're at a rock bottom state. They're either going to get better this week or they might not get better the rest of the season. I mean, this is, to me, and I understand the Bill Belichick factor and all that, and going to Foxborough, and they got their butts whipped last week, and they're in a bad way too. But you know what? I just think the Saints are flat out better than this team. I think Mac Jones is awful. And I was trying to buy into him early in his career. But he's what, 3-4 years in now. He's not getting any better. And they're going to have to switch to Bailey Zappi at some point. We saw it towards the end of the Dallas game that Belichick finally gave in, put Zappi in towards the end there. I think you're going to see a quicker hook this week. If he stinks this week and the Saints take a 10-point lead, I think you're going to see a much quicker hook. I just think the Saints are going to play much better. As much as I've dogged them and got on Pete Carmichael and the changes, look, these dudes are fighting for jobs. Bill Belichick's not fighting for a job. If he loses his job at the end of the year, he's still the best coach in the NFL and NFL history, in my opinion. If Dennis Allen doesn't get things figured out quickly, he's going to be forced to make a change at offensive coordinator. And, his job's on the line.
Yeah, the thing though, here's my problem with the Saints this week. It's pretty obvious Derek Carr wasn't healthy last Sunday.
No
and
question.
If he's not healthy this Sunday, the thing Belichick does the best is he's going to take away stuff that you're trying to do and make you do something different. The Saints are going to have to take shots down the field to beat this team. I mean, listen, Bill is watching more film than us, and we know that the Saints offense hasn't been dynamic. And to beat the Patriots, you have to take shots down the field. And that's what he's going to make them do. Can they do it? That's my question. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't like Mac Jones either. Never liked him. I mean, I could have played quarterback that year at Alabama, to be quite honest with you. These guys were open by 25 yards every play. But he does play a little bit better at home. This is a tough one. I agree with you. I think the Saints are at rock bottom. But as you pointed out in our production meeting, even if they do lose this game, we talked about this, you and I, Jim, that the Patriots aren't going anywhere. They're in the AFC. They're not winning anything. And I'm with you. I think this is Belichick's last year because he doesn't have a contender anymore, and he's miles away from one. So the Patriots win this game. The Saints still have a better chance to make the playoffs, and I think both of our opinions, right? So I don't think all is lost if they go and play a tough game and lose like 17-16.
I'm going to tell you another factor, and it's not being really mentioned a whole lot this week. When do the Saints do worst? It didn't necessarily come into play last week, but the Saints have trouble when there's a dominant pass rusher. The Patriots' dominant pass rusher is Matthew Judon, and I think it's getting to where he's not going to play. I mean, they haven't officially listed him as out, I don't think, but if he doesn't play, that is a huge deal for the Patriots. If they don't have Matthew Judon in there, and the Saints are able to, I mean, I thought they played their best game along the offensive line last week, which is sad to say. They only scored 9 points. That was not partly. It was mainly because Derek Carr shouldn't have been playing, and Pete Carmichael didn't have a clue about what he's doing. One thing that Carmichael has been good at, he's followed up stinkers with good efforts. But I don't understand why he can't string 2 games together. But he hasn't been able to, and that's just a fact. So, Sav, I appreciate it. Calling it like it is. No, I call it the way that I see it. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the way that it is. I call it the way that I see it. The attitude was most definitely brutal today. I'm not going to cherry pick. I'm not going to be nice when it's not time to be nice, and it's not time to be nice. They need to get their heads out of their keisters. We'll see what happens. Before we go off of this topic, Thomas, we're talking pre-production. There's an interesting, they haven't updated in a couple of weeks now, or at least a full week, but odds on first coach to get fired. Dennis Allen wasn't even listed before. Mm-hmm. But I think if the next time they do this, which will probably be after this week, especially if the Saints lose, I mean, he's not going to get fired because the Saints are just loyal to a fault. I talked about this morning. But it'll be interesting to see if the Saints were to lose this game, where Dennis Allen would be on this list, because he's going to be listed. Where would you think he would rank? Where does his odds be?
I think he'd be about 20-1.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears head coach is going to be miles the favorite. I mean, he might be fired before they even get the odds up, depending on what happens tonight. And then you're going to have McDaniels, who was the favorite. He's going to be up there. Staley, the problem with Staley is his quarterback's going to win him enough games to keep him till at least the end of the year. So, those are the 2 that you're probably looking at. McDaniels, who they pay a ton of money to. I don't know if they're going to cut him midseason. If it's going to be one, it's going to be the guy for the Bears, especially what happened last week. Now he's going on national TV here. If they get embarrassed again, he could be done.
Yeah, because they've lost 14 games in a row. I mean, that
Yeah.
is insane. For a coach to still have his job. I mean, I remember Hugh Jackson went 0-16, and then he finally got fired after the season was over, I guess, at some point. But I don't know how Eberflus still has his job. I really don't. I know you would think with the pick that they had and the moves that they made, you would have thought they would have kind of made this change. I know he was a one-year coach. You don't want to make change after one-year coach, but I don't understand why this dude has a job. The Bears have more. I'm not saying they're super talented, and look, I've been down on Justin Fields as much as anybody, but he's playing even below what I even thought he could play. I think that obviously Justin Fields has plenty of athletic talent, but they're in his head or something's in his head, and he's just not playing well at all. I don't know what they're doing at running back. It makes no sense to me. The ins and outs. They don't use Khalil Herbert enough. They have Dante Foreman sitting on the bench. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 weeks in a row. I don't understand it at all. So I don't know that they know what they're doing. And Zoe says the McCaskies are loyal, just like the Saints, just like the Bensons are loyal. And you know what loyalty gets you in the NFL? A whole lot of nothing. So keep on being loyal.
Well, yeah, and the bottom line is whatever Dennis Allen does this week or next week, I don't think he's going to be the first coach fired. Let's put it that way. Will he be on the list? Sure. Which would be more interesting is if they really struggle, then towards the end of the year, we get the next Saints head coach odds. Then we then we can have some fun, throw Saban on there. I think he's always on the list.
Yeah. I think the only way that Dennis Allen gets fired before the season is over is if he has something really negative to say about someone in the Saints organization, which he would never do because he can't even talk bad about his coaching staff when they scored 9 points against the Bucs. Except, he said we got our ass kicked. That was about the only thing he said. Everything else was like, oh, I'm not making a change. I mean, when are you going to make a change? But he's not going to get fired in the middle of the season. That's not how the Bensons operate. It's not how Mickey Loomis operates. It's not going to happen. He would have to lose they would have to go 2-8 with this easy schedule, and then we can talk about it, but it ain't going to happen. All right, we're going to come back to the NFL. We're going to come back to the Saints. The Saints, again, they're in 2 of our big bucks picks. They're not in mine. They're in 2 of our – you know what? I take that back. The Saints are in my big bucks picks. I put it in last second. We'll get to that in a little bit. So we're going to come back to the Saints. I want to talk about college because LSU is playing a big game this week, Thomas. The Missouri Tigers, surprisingly undefeated. Now, look. That is the biggest morale. In fact, this line has changed too since I did the graphic. It's now LSU -4, not -4.5. This line has changed from 6.5. It continues to fall. It's dropping like a stone from 6.5 to 5.5 yesterday to 4.5 this morning to 4 this afternoon. Everybody and their grandma, Aunt Mabel, Drunk Joe, everybody is betting on Missouri. I ain't betting on Missouri.
Yeah, and as we talked about this too in our pre-production meeting, Jim, college is a little bit different than the NFL when you're betting futures. Like in college, it's easier to kind of go W early in the season because of mismatches. The NFL, you don't know what's going to happen. But I almost took the over on Missouri's win total because I thought they could be unbeaten at this point. I said if they beat Kansas State, they're probably unbeaten when they play LSU. Right. But this feels like a team I took last year. I took over on Syracuse. And remember, they started 5-0. They had an easy schedule. And then reality kind of set in. That was my feeling about Missouri coming into the year, is that they could be unbeaten to this point. But then as they get into SEC play and start playing some of these better teams, Syracuse started 5-0. Would they finish with 7 wins? That's what I think you're going to see with Missouri. They're going to struggle more against these better SEC teams. And I think another thing we agree on is you weren't here Monday when I was saying I was rewinding the LSU game to show my kids like they were not getting off blocks. They were standing still watching guys run by them. I mean, we pull our kids off the field in youth football for that. So while I still think there's issues with LSU's defense, this isn't really the team that's going to exploit it enough, like an Ole Miss or an Arkansas who play that fast pace and can get up and down the field. So I think because of that, LSU scores too much and they beat Missouri.
Yeah, here's something that I don't know that I thought I would see for a long time. you look at the SEC rankings, 13th in total. There are only 14 teams in the SEC. They're 13th in total defense. I mean, second to last. That is unbelievable. And they're last. If you were said, are they last in rushing defense or pass? I would say they're last in pass. No, they actually moved up after getting torched by Ole Miss. They moved up to 11th in passing defense. They're last in the SEC in rushing defense. I don't know, man. That is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would
and that's
say
hard
that.
to fix. That's
It really is.
That's something as a gambler I bet on all the time. If your rush defense is terrible, that almost never gets fixed midseason. So while I think there probably will be better spots to bet against LSU, I don't think this matchup is going to impact them that much. I just think the best player on the field by far is the quarterback for LSU.
Yeah, zero.
He's going to make enough play. Yeah, he's going to make. I mean, with those two receivers, I mean, I just think they make too many plays and pull away from Missouri in the second half.
Yeah, and then another key number on here, Thomas, also is passing defense for Missouri. They're 9th. And they're 9th, and they haven't played anybody. Here are the Missouri football results. They're 5-0. They beat week 1. They beat Missouri. They beat South Dakota 35-10. Then they beat Middle Tennessee by 4, 23-19 at Missouri. Beat a bad Kansas State team 30-27. Memphis in the AAC 34-27, and then last week their SEC opener they beat Vandy 38-21. That is a complete and utter facade, mirage, whatever you want to call
Syracuse from last year. Syracuse was beating mediocre to bad teams by not that much, and they were somehow they were 5-0 because they beat teams they should they could beat, but then when they started playing the meat of the schedule, they got exposed. And I think you're going to see the same thing start this week for Missouri. I get it. I get why people are taking the points at home with a defense like LSU. I get it. I just don't think this is the team that's really going to bother them defensively like Ole Miss. Ole Miss plays at the fastest pace in the country. So when they were down 9, that's like most teams being down 1. They can make that up. Missouri can't do that like Ole Miss did.
I think Jaden Daniels has a field day in this game. I think he goes off on Missouri. I don't think LSU – I don't even think it's close. I think they win by 4 touchdowns. That's how bad – I mean, I could be wrong, and we could be sitting here talking Monday and like, what's wrong with LSU and when is it ever going to get better? And is, poor Jaden Daniels got to play with this crap, but I just don't see it. I think they win easily. We'll find out who's right. I didn't put it in best bets because I've been staying in my lane with the NFL. I was really, really close to putting LSU in there, but I did not put them in there. Someone did. We'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Before we get to big bucks, before we get to the turkey of the week, got to talk about the national games, the ones we're going to be looking at. And I forgot to change this graphic. By the way, Kentucky, Georgia, great game, but we meant to put the Red River shootout in there. Oklahoma's playing Texas this week. Let's start with that, Thomas. Let's start with Oklahoma and Texas. The Sooners, I believe, are 6.5 point underdogs, 6.5, 7, somewhere around there. Uncle Big Nick loves the Sooners this week. I think Texas is for real. I think Texas is going to end up in the playoff. Again, I know Oklahoma's played well. Now 5.5. Spencer's saying it's 5.5. I like Texas here.
Yeah. Here I tried to find a way to bet Oklahoma. Here's the thing about Texas. I don't think Sark is an awful coach, but if Texas is going to lose a game, they're probably going to lose a game they should win easily. That's kind of the game Sark loses. And the thing that you and I are kind of on the same page with Alabama, we don't think this is a great Alabama team. But one spot where Alabama is always good is in the trenches. They have men. And Texas
and they beat the teams they're supposed to always.
Yeah. And Texas beat them up front. I thought that was the most impressive part about their win against Alabama. I know Alabama doesn't have a quarterback, but just the way they beat them up front, I think this is a bit of a trap on the underdog. I think I'm with you. I think Texas comes out, and I think they steamroll Oklahoma, and I think they cover this number pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't usually go against Uncle Big Nick when it comes to college football because he knows more than me. When he's definitely better than me in college, I'm better than him in pros, but I just don't see it. I think Texas is going to end up in the playoff unless they do what Thomas was talking about and losing a game they're not supposed to lose, which they do. They often do. Who could it be? Is it Texas Tech? Is it someone like that? Something you're just not supposed to lose to. It could be. You mentioned it, Alabama, Texas A&M. When's the last time you saw Alabama just a 1-point favorite in any game? And that's where they are here, basically even against Texas A&M. Look, I think A&M's played this year kind of like we thought they would play last year so far. I like A&M in this game. We don't know what's going on in Alabama. Milroe's supposed to play again, supposed to start, but if he has problems, who do they go to? Alabama's in a world of hurt. I really like A&M here.
Yeah, and a little birdie told me yesterday that Milroe tweaked his hamstring in practice, and this line was 2.5 when I got that text at Caesar Sportsbook, and it quickly moved down to Alabama -1. Now the little birdie ain't 100%, but he's in the low 90% of information that I get, and it doesn't mean that Milroe won't play, but he probably did do something in practice. And I guess if you're an Alabama fan, I get you're saving graces that, this isn't a Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's Milroe. So maybe maybe the guy they put, the Ty Simpson or whoever they put in there is not going to be that big of a drop off if he can't go. Here's the thing. Jimbo's Jimbo. He hasn't done what he was supposed to do at Texas A&M. But you have to remember something. This is still that same 2 recruiting classes that he's brought in. They have a lot of talent. And with the offense getting a little bit better, remember where most of their talent is. It's on defense. And what does Alabama struggle to do? Score. I think A&M, it might not be an upset by the time the game goes off. Maybe A&M closed as a slight favorite, but I think they upset Alabama, Jim. I think you were right. You told me when I first got here, you said, I think Alabama could lose 4 games this year. I think you might be right on that.
My prediction, I still stand with it. Saban and Belichick both gone after this year.
Yeah, I think Belichick for sure. Saban we'll have to see. We'll see.
I think they're both about the same age. I mean, I don't know. We'll see if he wants to keep coaching football or keep doubling up on Aflac commercials. I'm not sure which one it is. When's the last time you saw an over-under in an Alabama game was that low?
I know. 46. It's just like old school Alabama, not the team we've seen the last couple of years.
Interesting game for sure. I will be watching that one 2:30 p.m. I believe that is the CBS game of the week. We got it on the screen. Kentucky and Georgia. Georgia, that same spread again, 14.5, just like they were against Auburn. So that would mean in the normal world, you would just go and insta take Georgia since they didn't cover last week. I'm not so sure. Georgia hasn't really been covering a lot this year. And I think Kentucky's for real. To me, if you wanted to pick what does ESPN call it? The live dog of the week or whatever you want to call it, that I wouldn't be shocked at all if Kentucky won this game straight up.
It's interesting because what's going on at Kentucky kind of goes under the radar a little bit. So they play in the SEC, so they haven't played for national championships. But the amount of talent that Stoops has got there in the last couple of years is really shocking. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. And Georgia's offense, to me, just hasn't clicked yet. So I think you're laying 14.5 with the name, Georgia, not with the team that we're seeing right now. That's too many.
You mean more like 10.5?
Yeah. I like Kentucky here. I think they're going to be in this game. And again, I think it's the perception of Georgia, but this isn't the team we've seen the last 2 years. Maybe they come out and they show, well, now we are the team, but we haven't seen it yet. So over 2 touchdowns, too much.
I agree. And it's scary because I think we're on the same side for just about everything so far. That's not good for you guys.
I can't be any worse than I was last week. So you got a puncher's chance this week.
It's coming up. Zoe, by the way, says I was right on. Saban and Belichick are both 71 years old. So there you go. Lastly, let's go to the NFL. One game on here, and then I'm going to go back to the Saints slide for a reason. The game of the week, there's no question. In fact, to me, it might be the game of the year so far. You could say the Bills and Dolphins last week is up there, but to me, this Cowboys-Niners game is very possibly, and I'd say better likely than not. If you had to put 2 teams in the NFC that I thought had the best chance of facing each other in the NFC title game, I would say it's Cowboys and Niners. I think they're both going to win their division. Big game this weekend. The Niners are a 4-point favorite, which tells me that the Vegas odds makers think that they're just slightly better than Dallas. You only get about 2 points now for home field. It used to be 3. It's about 2 now. San Francisco, maybe not even 2 in San Francisco. But I think that Dallas continues to be underrated and underrated and underrated. I know they stink in the postseason. Guess what? This ain't the postseason. I got one for you, Thomas. I don't know if you read my NFL picks column today, but you want to know the last time that Dallas lost in San Francisco?
I know when it was. I'm a Cowboys fan, remember?
Oh, that's right. You do know when it was.
And you're talking about my most hated team on earth, so I know when it was.
The last time Dallas lost in San Francisco, Troy Aikman was the quarterback. Steve Young was the quarterback for the 49ers. 1997. I think some of the people in our green room weren't even born yet in 1997.
Yep. And
so,
that's
a painful day for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's listen, whatever a homer is, I'm the exact opposite when it comes to the Cowboys.
You just think they're going to lose.
But the only team I get emotional about really is the 49ers, because growing up there were so many huge battles between these two teams. So I'm always going to be a fan when I watch this game. But I'll tell you what I like here. I like the under. I think these are two of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I can see that.
And, Brock Purdy's been kind of beaten up on bad defenses. He's going to have a whole different – I do think the Cowboys +4 are intriguing, but I don't know how many points are going to be scored here. The Niners defense plays Dak really well, and I think Purdy's going to have trouble. I think they're going to get pressure on him. To me, 45 is a little high for this game.
Yeah. I like that, actually. I like that. I'm not sure what Jacques is saying he hopes about. I'm not sure what he's hoping there. But I'll tell you this. I think the Cowboys are the better team. I've said it before. I say it again. I think the Cowboys are going to win this game straight up. It's a good money line bet, in my opinion. I think you're getting value there. And there's certainly, well, we'll see this. I'm giving us a little spoiler alert. I think the Cowboys in a teaser at +10 is a phenomenal bet. They're not going to get blown out. And Brock Purdy, to me, it's still a small sample size. I mean, Brock Purdy's only played 11 NFL games? I mean, it's a small sample size. I mean, we're crowning him as like this great quarterback, and maybe he will be. But I mean, it's a little too early, in my opinion.
Yeah, and listen, not take nothing away from Brock Purdy, but he does what he's supposed to do. He's got the most weapons of any team in football, probably, with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. And what does he do? He gets the ball to those guys and lets them run after the catch. That's kind of what Brady did early in his career when he wasn't Brady yet. So kudos to Brock Purdy. He's doing exactly what he should do, but he also hasn't faced many pass rushes like he's going to face on Sunday night, which I think is going to impact this game. And that's why I like the under and why I think the Cowboys are going to be around to win this game late.
Agreed. All right, 30 seconds. We got to go back to it real quick. Thursday night football. That's all this game deserves. The Bears and the Commanders. I may watch. I may play tiddlywinks with my children. I may learn 6th grade math. I have no idea. But somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. Bears, Commanders. The Commanders are 6-point favorites. That line has pretty much remained steady the whole week. 20 seconds. Who you got?
I'll take Washington. After that game last week where Justin Fields was hobbled, they had a lot of stuff going on in Chicago. I kind of wonder if they show up this week. We'll see. I think Washington covers.
For similar reasons, I like the Saints this week. I like the Bears. Look, I don't know if they're going to win the game. I would not take Washington in a survivor pool at all this week. They like to follow up good games with stinkers. And even though they lost to the Eagles last week, that was about as good as they can play. And their quarterback, Howell's going to get rushed. Their offensive line is in shambles right now. Washington's is. I think there could be a lot of points scored in this game. I think that 44.5 is low.
Yeah, I like the over too.
I'd rather take the over, but I think that at the minimum, I think the Bears get a backdoor touchdown, late touchdown, and get a backdoor cover. I wouldn't touch the Commanders with a stick here. If you have to bet it, bet the over. If you're a true degenerate and just can't watch football without betting it, well, that's your problem. You probably should call the number. But that being said, if you had to take a side, I would take the Bears +6, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if they won this game straight up. All right, Time for big bucks. Let's bring in our friends here. There's Gabe, and there's Spencer. We're going to get to the totals for the week. We're going to go, let's do as we did, the reverse order of stink to less stink. And here's how it went last week. Well, I won the week by default. Only because someone had to win the week. That's how bad it was. I won the week with a -4. Oh, my goodness. What are we doing, people? What are we doing? It went from -4. We were all 2 and 3 or worse. Thomas is the turkey of the week, -68. Let's get a look at that turkey, and it looks so good on him. Thomas, you're the turkey of the week, my friend.
Yeah, listen, that was no fluke. I couldn't hit water if I jumped into an ocean last week. It was so bad. I was watching football with my son on Sunday. He wanted to start a DraftKings account so he could fade me. I mean, it wasn't even close. Most of my games were I lost by 20, 30 points. So, hey, I was in first. This is sports betting right here. I was in first going into last week. Now I'm sitting here with a turkey on my head. So there you go. This week,
before you start, you were way ahead too. You had like 1,058 or something like that. Now you went from there to red. By the way, we start with $1,000. So Gabe's the only one still in green. We're not too far off. Guru would have to have a great week to get back in the green, but theoretically, we could all be in the green after this week. We each have 2 minutes to make our picks. Thomas, your 2 minutes starts now.
Yeah, so I got Navy, the team total over 34.5. North Texas last in the country against the run. I don't know if you've ever watched Navy's offense, but they might not throw a pass this week. North Texas given up 31 or more in every game. I think Navy gets the offense cranking this week. Took the Ole Miss Arkansas over for obvious reasons. That's one. If it goes under, I'll live with it, and I'll put the turkey back on my head. I don't care. Those two defenses stink. I like the Patriots. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Saints come. I think they play hard, but I'm not sure about the health of Derek Carr. That's what's going to push me towards the Patriots. Listen, I don't do trends. I don't love trends. They don't dictate future performances, but if you've ever seen the trends on the underdog and Ravens Steelers, if you just bet the underdog blindly the last 15 years, you'd be sitting on a beach sipping martinis right now. It's unbelievable. And I also think it's a good spot for Pittsburgh catching 4.5 against an overrated Ravens team. And Florida Atlantic, they've had a really tough schedule. I'm buying them low here. I think they beat Tulsa easily at home. So give me at least 3 wins here. I'll tell you what, for anyone who hasn't put it on, this turkey's tight, man. It's tight on your head.
Man, okay, put your head in the oven. 4 hours from now, we might have something. I don't know. Anyway, look, I'm going to steal 10 seconds of your time. A trend. You like trends. How about Steelers Ravens? The last 9, it's happened 9 times. 9 times Mike Tomlin has lost by 20 or more points. The next week, he's won all 9. It's happened 21 times where he's lost by 14 or more. And 2 of those, you couldn't do it. One was at the end of the year. One was last week. 14-5, straight up, when he loses by 14 the next week. So there you go.
There you go. That's I told you it's coming off this week.
All right. Well, maybe Spencer put it on that little mop. What you got going on, Guru?
Oh man, yeah, I'm lucky I haven't had to wear it yet because it's been a rough start here on big bucks. But we're gonna shake back this week. Staying in my lane with NFL, going all NFL this week. My best bet, I got the Rams plus 4.5 against the Eagles. I feel like it's a really good matchup for them. The Eagles' pass defense has been really rough this year. And we know the Rams can sling it through the air. Cooper Kupp could be back, even if he isn't. Puka Nak was the truth there, receiver. So I think the Rams can at least cover this. I wouldn't shock me if they win. I mean, the Eagles are 4-0, but face a soft schedule to start. So really like the Rams this week. Also like the Panthers as a 10-point dog here against the Lions. I feel like this is one where Joe Q Public and Aunt Mabel are just going to take the Lions no matter what. But I think this Panthers are a sneaky good play here. Even if they don't win, I definitely see them backdooring this. Bryce Young isn't as bad as people are making him out to be. Yeah, he's a rookie. He's looking rough so far, but I think they're going to at least keep this thing close. And then Jets money line, my upset special. Got them taking down the Broncos this week. Look, the Broncos stink, y'all. The Broncos, that is not a good football team. I know Zach Wilson is still not that great, even though he did well last week. But I think he'll be able to do enough to get the Jets over the top here because Broncos can't stop anybody. Russ isn't very good. The Jets defense is good. They shut down Mahomes for the most part last week. So take the Jets on the money line here, and then got the Falcons over the Texans. Sorry, Gabe. I feel like the Falcons match up well here. I know the Texans have been good lately with Bijan. I think is going to run all over Houston. And got a teaser here for y'all. Dolphins, even if they don't win by as much as the line's thinking, like -5, I definitely think they'll win by, a touchdown. I think they'll cover that for sure. And then got the Raiders in there as well. Jimmy G should be back. I think they keep things close against Green Bay.
Who's going to play defense for the Raiders? Oh, anyway. All right, Gabe Henderson. Got a little homer pick on there. Go for it. 2 of them.
Jim, well, first off, I'm going to steal a line from that you had in pre-production. I would put a mortgage payment on LSU to beat Missouri by 4 points. I think LSU's offense is way too good. This is Missouri's first real test of the season since, all they've played is Southwest Arkansas, Tech State all year. I think LSU's defense is going to bounce back pretty well. They can't be any worse, possibly. And, all the trends say that Missouri is going to cover this, but I don't see it. I think LSU bounces back, gets back to 500 on the year against the spread. I'm with Thomas on this. I like the Patriots against the Saints. New England has covered their last 5 of 7 overall, 3 of 4 at home, and all 3 of those games they won outright. I don't know about Derek Carr's health. I think Jameis Winston probably should have started last weekend, and the Saints haven't covered in 5 of their last 8 on the road. So,
yep.
I like that. Like the upset special. I like the Houston Texans over the Falcons.
Homer alert!
Atlanta's coming back from London. Houston's 4-1 against the spread on the road in their last 5. And I think the Texans are moving the ball better on offense. I think Arthur Smith has a childish offensive scheme. I don't think they're utilizing all the weapons they have there. And I just think, at this point, D'Amico Ryan's a better coach. So give me the Texans in the upset. I like the Nebraska-Illinois over. Just a little teaser for tomorrow's best bet in the newsletter. I'll go into that further there. And then my last one, I like the 49ers to cover against the Cowboys. 49ers 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 at home. And as Thomas alluded to earlier, they have the most offensive weapons of probably anyone in the league.
All right. My best bet of the week is not what you see on the screen. My best bet is that Gabe Henderson will be the turkey of the week next week. I don't like any of those picks. But that's okay. I don't have to.
I thought you liked LSU.
I do like LSU. I take that back.
There you go.
I do like that. I do like. In fact, I love LSU. So, what scares me about the Texans, and I'm stealing my own time to say this. I think I was looking at the trends and how the Texans have done. Look, I might be wrong about C.J. Stroud, but what I'm not wrong about is their rushing defense is awful. Bijan Robinson's going to run all over. Spencer's right about that on the Texans this week. Real quick, my best bet of the week is Bengals -3 over the Cardinals. I don't understand. Josh Dobbs has 1 win in 7 years, and all of a sudden we're talking about how he's a good quarterback. Look, the Bengals did the same thing last year. They stunk it up early in the year, and then they went and played the Saints and went on a run 10 of 11. They need 1 good game to kickstart their season. This is it. I think the Bengals smoke the Cardinals this week. My bet of the week, and it might be Mabel-ish, I guess. I don't know. Steelers, I'm with Thomas. I believe it was Thomas that had Steelers over the Ravens. I love that. I have 2 teasers this week. I kind of changed one of my picks, and I'm going to put them together. I got 2 teasers, one for 24, one for 12. And just value. Jacksonville getting 11.5 from Buffalo. Jacksonville's been sitting in London all week. Buffalo is coming off this emotional walloping of Miami. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville won that one straight up. Even if Dallas loses to San Francisco, which I think they win straight up, it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, like Thomas said. In a low-scoring game, you want to give either side 10 points? I'll take it in a teaser. I am completely on the side with Broncos-Jets. I think Russ is I believe, the 4th-ranked quarterback in the NFL. Hard to believe. The Jets, they played as well as they can play. Zach Wilson turns back into a pumpkin. Then my other teaser, you see it on the screen. I got the Saints in there. Saints +7 over New England. I think the Saints win. I really do. I'll talk about it more tomorrow with Larry Holder. And then Green Bay, Vegas. Look, Green Bay, Vegas is a mess right now. they're an absolute mess. So if you want to give me Green Bay, by the way, on your teaser, Spencer, and you can change it if you want, but Vegas is actually -1. So the teaser would be +5, not +7.
Well, I checked it yesterday. It would have been +5.
Yeah,
And when I checked it today, it was +7. It switched back.
Green Bay is a 1-point dog.
Wow. So it went back, then it flip-flopped because then it was, last time I checked, Green Bay was
I
the
checked about an hour before we
favorite.
came on the air. So Green Bay is a 1-point dog right before we came on the air. So we gotta be in line.
I'll let it ride. I'll keep it.
Okay. I'll fix that. All right. And final thoughts, anyone? Turkey, I'll let you go first with your final thoughts since you got to wear that tight hat on your head for the last 10 minutes.
No, it should be a good week. I think we're all due for a bounce back. I think the picks look good. Hey, listen, it's betting. Sometimes weeks like I had last week happen. As long as they don't keep happening over and over, we'll be all right.
The one thing, and you and I have been doing this for a while, the one thing you do is even if you have a few bad weeks in a row, you can't stop doing what you've been doing. If it's worked for you in the past, you might have 3-4 bad weeks in a row. Guru won this thing last year. He's in last place right now, but he knows what he's doing. He obviously knows what he's doing. You don't go through a whole season and win if you don't know what you're doing. So, I mean, everyone, I would suggest that not just for the four people that are on this stand, but keep doing what you're doing if it works. And I think what we're doing here works. You know what? She didn't know I was going to do this, but it's Bears on Thursday Night Football. Tell me who's going to win tonight, Zoe.
Jim, I love you, but I can't stand you right now. Why are you making me do this?
Who's going to win?
My dog, because we're not going to watch anything horrible that could cause me to stress, curse.
Love it.
I'm not going to do nothing. I'm scared.
Tell you what.
Okay.
If the Bears are winning by 20 in the fourth quarter, I'll text you and let you know. How's that?
My dad's already going to do that for me. I'm good.
Weren't they winning by 20 in the third quarter last week?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you better.
I wasn't going to bring that up. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Flames.
All right. It's been a fun show. We've gone a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I had a good time today. I think we're spot on. Thomas and I have been pretty much together for the most part until Big Bucks would kind of like spread apart a little bit there at the end. But I like our picks this week. I was kidding with Gabe. The only one I really don't like is the Texans, and only because I do think Bijan Robinson's going to have a field day running over. But, hey, I'm not going to be upset if the Texans beat the Falcons. Please, by all means, go for it. It will be a fun weekend. Datitude tomorrow morning. Larry Holder will be with me, not just talking about Saints Patriots, but we will be previewing the Week 5 in the NFL, and of course talking about Cowboys 49ers. I'll be interested to get Larry's take on that. So until Monday, Datitude tomorrow morning. Big Bucks will be back on Monday. It'll be Spencer and I. For Zoe, for Spencer, for Thomas, for Gabe, I'm Jim Derry. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you next week.